Guyana, home to mighty rivers and endless rainforest, but did you know its very name means the land of many waters? This isn't just a poetic nickname, it's a profound truth that defines this incredible South American nation. From the air, Guyana looks like a vast green carpet, threaded with silver and gold rivers that snake their way through dense jungle towards the Atlantic Ocean. This is a place where nature still holds sway, where the roar of a jaguar might echo through the trees and the sheer power of a waterfall can leave you breathless. The name itself is a promise of adventure, hinting at a world shaped by water in its every form, a world waiting to be explored. Modern Guyana is a truly unique place, a vibrant mosaic of cultures and landscapes that sets it apart from its neighbors. It is the only English-speaking country in South America, a legacy of its British colonial past that adds a fascinating layer to its identity. Walk through the bustling streets of its capital, Georgetown, and you'll hear a symphony of languages and accents, from Caribbean Creole to the gentle tones of indigenous dialects. The country's people reflect a rich history of migration, with communities of East Indian, African, Chinese, European, and of course, indigenous descent. This blend creates a cultural tapestry that is as rich and diverse as the rainforest ecosystem that covers most of the nation. This incredible diversity is mirrored in the country's geography. Guyana is a land of dramatic contrasts. Along the coast, you find low-lying plains where most of the population lives and works. Venture inland, however, and you enter a different world entirely. The landscape rises to meet vast plateaus and the ancient flat-topped mountains known as Tipuys, which inspired Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World. This is the heart of Guyana, a realm of pristine rainforests, sprawling savannas, and a complex network of rivers that serve as the lifeblood of the nation. It is here, in the deep interior, that the true meaning of land of many waters comes alive in the most spectacular fashion. The story of Guyana is inextricably linked to its powerful rivers. They have been the highways for ancient peoples, the lure for European explorers searching for gold, and the source of life for countless communities for centuries. They carve through the land, creating breathtaking waterfalls like the legendary Kaieteur Falls, one of the tallest and most powerful single-drop waterfalls in the world. The sheer volume of water that flows through Guyana, from the mighty Essequibo to the Demerara and Berbice rivers, has shaped not only the physical landscape, but also the soul of the nation. Understanding Guyana means understanding its relationship with water, a relationship so fundamental that it is enshrined in its very name. Long before the first European ships ever reached its shores, this land was home to vibrant and sophisticated societies. The first inhabitants, the Arawak and Carib peoples, were masters of this environment. They lived in harmony with the forest and the rivers, developing a deep understanding of the natural world that surrounded them. These indigenous groups were not just survivors. They were skilled farmers, expert fishermen, and talented artisans. They navigated the intricate network of waterways in dugout canoes, their knowledge of the currents and channels passed down through generations. Their lives were woven into the rhythm of the seasons, the flooding of the rivers, and the cycles of the forest. The Arawak people, known for their peaceful and communal way of life, were primarily agriculturalists who settled along the coastal plains and riverbanks. They cultivated crops like cassava, corn and sweet potatoes, using innovative farming techniques to thrive in the tropical climate. Their villages were well organized, and their culture was rich with art, music, and spiritual traditions. The Carib peoples, often portrayed as more warlike, were also skilled seafarers and traders who occupied territories throughout the region. Both groups left an indelible mark on the land, a legacy that can still be seen today in place names, food, and the enduring traditions of their descendants. Their connection to the environment was profound and spiritual. For them, the rivers were not just sources of food and transport, they were sacred entities, home to spirits and central to their creation stories. The forest provided everything they needed: wood for their homes and canoes, medicinal plants to heal the sick, and animals to hunt for food. This intimate relationship with nature fostered a deep respect for the land and its resources. It was a worldview based on balance and sustainability, a stark contrast to the extractive mindset that would arrive with European colonization. Their legacy is a reminder of a different way of living with the earth. Today, the descendants of these first peoples, collectively known as Amerindians, continue to be the custodians of Guyana's interior. There are 9 distinct Amerindian nations in Guyana, each with its own unique language, culture, and traditions. They carry forward the ancient knowledge of the rainforest, from traditional farming methods to the use of medicinal plants. Their presence is a living link to the country's pre-colonial past, and their deep connection to the land is a vital part of Guyana's national identity. They are the original Guyanese, the people who first understood this place as the land of many waters. So, where does the name Guyana actually come from? The answer lies with the Arawak people and their profound understanding of their home. When they looked at the world around them, they saw a landscape dominated by water. There were the vast rivers like the Essequibo, the Berbice, and the Demerara, which acted as their highways. There were the countless smaller tributaries, the sprawling wetlands, and the heavy seasonal rains that nourished the forest. To describe this water-rich world, they used a word in their language, Guyana. The meaning was simple, direct, and perfectly accurate: land of many waters. This indigenous term was not just a name, it was a description, a geographical reality captured in a single word. It perfectly encapsulated the essence of the region, a place where life was dictated by the flow and abundance of water. The name Guiana was a testament to the Arawak people's deep connection to their environment. It showed their ability to observe and define their world with stunning clarity. This wasn't a name given by an outsider or a king from a distant land. It was a name that grew organically from the soil and the rivers themselves, spoken by the people who knew it best. The importance of water in this region cannot be overstated. The rivers provided fish, a staple of the indigenous diet. They were the primary means of travel, connecting villages that might otherwise be isolated by the dense, impenetrable rainforest. The annual flooding of the rivers deposited rich, fertile silt on the riverbanks, creating ideal conditions for farming. Waterfalls like the majestic Kaieteur Falls were not just landmarks, but places of spiritual significance, believed to be home to powerful spirits. The entire ecosystem, from the tallest trees to the smallest insects, was dependent on this constant presence of water. Land of Many Waters was the most fitting name imaginable. This name, Guiana, originally referred to a much larger area than the country we know today. It described the vast region of northeastern South America bordered by the Orinoco, Amazon, and Rio Negro rivers. This was the land that early European explorers would encounter, a sprawling territory of jungle and rivers that seemed both intimidating and full of promise. The name they heard from the local inhabitants stuck. It was adopted by mapmakers and adventurers, becoming the label for this mysterious and waterlogged corner of the New World, a name that would endure through centuries of conflict and change. The first Europeans to arrive in the Guyana region were not searching for a new home, they were searching for gold. Lured by tales of a mythical golden city known as El Dorado, Spanish explorers ventured into the interior in the 16th century. Sir Walter Raleigh, the famous English courtier and explorer, also made 2 expeditions to the region, convinced that El Dorado lay hidden deep within its jungles. While they never found the city of gold, their travels brought the name Guyana back to Europe. Firing the imaginations of monarchs and merchants, the land of many waters soon became known as a land of legendary riches, a perception that would shape its future. It was the Dutch, however, who established the first permanent European settlements in the early 17th century. They were practical and commercially minded, more interested in trade and agriculture than in mythical cities. They established colonies along the Essequibo, Demerara, and Berbice rivers, recognizing the strategic importance of controlling these waterways. The Dutch were masters of water management, and they used their expertise to build a system of canals and sea defenses to drain the coastal plains and create fertile plantations for sugar cultivation. Their influence can still be seen today in Georgetown's layout and in many of the country's place names. For nearly 2 centuries, control of the region shifted between the Dutch, French, and British as European powers fought for dominance in the Caribbean. These conflicts were often brutal, and the colonies changed hands multiple times. The British eventually gained final control in 1814, and in 1831 they formally consolidated the three colonies of Essequibo, Demerara and Berbice into a single entity, British Guiana. The name Guiana was retained, but with the prefix British to distinguish it from neighbouring Dutch Guiana, now Suriname, and French Guiana, which remains an overseas department of France to this day. Under British rule, the sugar industry expanded dramatically, fueled by the labour of enslaved Africans. After the abolition of slavery in 1838, large numbers of indentured servants were brought from India, China and Portugal to work on the plantations. This period of colonial exploitation fundamentally reshaped the country's social and demographic landscape, creating the multicultural society that exists today. The name of the colony, British Guiana, was a constant reminder of its status as a possession of a distant empire, yet underneath the colonial label, the indigenous heart of the name, the land of many waters, remained. The 20th century was a period of profound change for British Guiana. A sense of national consciousness began to grow among the diverse population, fueled by a shared desire for self-determination and an end to colonial rule. Political movements emerged, led by charismatic figures who campaigned tirelessly for independence. The road to freedom was not easy. It was marked by political turmoil, social unrest, and ideological divisions. However, the people were united by a common goal: to forge their own destiny and create a new nation based on principles of equality and sovereignty. This was a crucial time for shaping a modern Guyanese identity. On May 26, 1966, after decades of struggle, British Guiana finally achieved independence from the United Kingdom. This was a moment of immense pride and celebration across the country. One of the first and most symbolic acts of the new nation was to choose a new name. The leaders decided to drop the colonial prefix British, a clear statement of their break from the past. They looked back to the original indigenous roots of the name. They chose Guyana, a simple yet powerful adaptation of the Arawak word Guiana. This was a deliberate choice to honor the country's first inhabitants and to embrace the name that truly described the land itself. The adoption of the name Guyana was more than just a cosmetic change. It was a conscious effort to build a national identity that was inclusive of all its people and deeply connected to the natural environment. By choosing a name that meant land of many waters, the new nation was grounding its identity in its unique geography. It was a name that transcended the ethnic and political divisions that had been exploited during the colonial era. It spoke to a shared heritage, a shared home, and a shared future. The name became a unifying symbol for a young country finding its place in the world. This renewed identity was reflected in other national symbols as well. The new flag, known as the Golden Arrowhead, was designed to represent the country's natural wealth and bright future. The green represents the forests and fields, the gold signifies mineral wealth, the red symbolizes the zeal of nation building, and the black border stands for the endurance of the people. Together with the name Guyana, these symbols help to foster a sense of national pride and unity. The country was no longer British Guiana, a colonial outpost. It was Guyana, the land of many waters, a proud and independent nation. Today, Guyana is a nation defined by its incredible cultural diversity. It truly is a melting pot, a place where different traditions, religions and histories have come together to create something entirely new and unique. This rich tapestry is the direct result of its complex history. The descendants of the original Amerindian peoples, the enslaved Africans who were brought to work the sugar plantations, the indentured laborers from India, and smaller groups of Chinese and European migrants have all contributed to the nation's cultural fabric. This mix is not always without its challenges, but it is the source of Guyana's vibrant and dynamic character. Walk through any town in Guyana and this diversity is immediately apparent. You will see Hindu temples, Muslim mosques, and Christian churches standing side by side, a testament to the country's religious tolerance. The air is filled with the tantalizing smells of different cuisines, from spicy Indian curries and African-inspired cook-up rice to Chinese-style fried rice and the indigenous specialty, pepper pot. This fusion is also heard in the music, a blend of Caribbean calypso and soca, Bollywood movie soundtracks and traditional folk songs. It is a culture that celebrates its multiple roots while forging a common Guyanese identity. This cultural richness is mirrored by the country's stunning natural beauty, which remains its greatest asset. The name, Land of Many Waters, is as fitting today as it was centuries ago. More than 80% of Guyana is still covered by pristine rainforest, one of the largest unspoiled tracts of jungle in the world. This incredible biodiversity makes it a paradise for nature lovers and adventurers. It is home to an astonishing array of wildlife, including jaguars, giant river otters, harpy eagles, and the Arapaima, one of the world's largest freshwater fish. The country's commitment to preserving this natural heritage is a key part of its modern identity. The powerful rivers and waterfalls that inspired the name continue to define life in Guyana. The Essequibo River, so wide that it feels like an inland sea dotted with islands, remains a vital artery for transport and commerce. And Kaieteur Falls, hidden deep in the interior, is a national treasure and a powerful symbol of the untamed spirit of the country. For tourists, it is a breathtaking sight. For Guyanese people, it is a source of immense pride, a reminder of the raw natural power that makes their country so special. The name and the landscape are perfectly intertwined. In the end, the name Guyana is far more than just a label on a map. It is a thread that weaves together the disparate elements of this fascinating country, its people, its history, and its extraordinary natural world. It is a name that reaches back in time to honor the wisdom of its first inhabitants, the Arawak people who so perfectly captured the essence of their home. By calling itself the Land of Many Waters, Guyana acknowledges that its identity is fundamentally shaped by its geography, by the rivers that flow through its heart, and the rains that sustain its magnificent forests. The name also serves as a bridge connecting the country's diverse communities. In a nation with roots in Africa, India, Europe and China, as well as its indigenous heritage, the name Guyana offers a point of common ground. It is a name that belongs to everyone. It reminds all Guyanese people, regardless of their background, that they share a single home, a land defined not by division, but by the life-giving waters that nourish them all. It is a powerful symbol of unity, encouraging a national identity that is inclusive and respectful of all its contributors. As Guyana looks to the future, its name remains a source of inspiration and guidance. In an age of climate change and environmental challenges, the Land of Many Waters is a reminder of the precious natural resources that must be protected. The country's vast forests are a vital carbon sink for the planet, and its commitment to sustainable development and ecotourism shows a modern understanding of the wisdom embedded in its ancient name. The name encourages a path forward that balances economic progress with the preservation of the natural beauty that makes Guyana unique. From the ancient Arawak word to the modern, independent nation, the story of Guyana is the story of the land itself. It is a narrative of resilience, adaptation, and the enduring power of nature. It speaks of a country that has weathered the storms of colonialism and forged a proud, multicultural identity. The name is a promise and a reality, a beautiful summary of a nation's soul. It is, and always will be, the Land of Many Waters, a place where the stories of people, history, and nature flow together like the great rivers that give it its name. If this story gave you new insight, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which country's name should we uncover next? Drop your suggestion below.